Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this is important, I think, to some extent because, and I know that not everybody uses type in a personal growth, like that's not their application, and that's fine. I don't think everybody should. I actually think that personal growth is one of those things that it's really easy to, if you're an individual that is into growth and development, it's really easy to start patting yourself on the back for it and acting like it's, sort of ethically superior to be an individual into growth and development. And there's a lot of ego stroking that happens in this world. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I just think it's an interest. Yeah. I think it's something that you get bitten by a bug, right? And usually you get bitten by a bug around personal growth and development because you had to, because you were in a situation that you just couldn't solve it on your own. And you sought tools to help you solve the problem. You found tools. They happen to be tools related to growth and development. And then you go, oh, this is a thing. And then now you're off to the races.
Yeah.
And some people get a little into personal growth, just kind of like, I always think of it as like working out at the gym. Some people get a little bit into working out because, they want to, I don't know, they want to keep themselves healthy, or they want to continue to have stamina, for their kids or whatever. Like it's kind of a casual relationship. And then there are people who are gym rats, who are in there like hours a day. And the gym is available for both kinds. And it's also waiting for people who haven't yet hit the gym, right? It's just going to be there for them. So if a person hits the gym, there are lots of benefits to it. But are those people like ethically or morally superior people? Or are they people who just have realized that there's an advantage to going to the gym, right? Well, and so I think growth is a little bit like that.
Well, how I see it, sorry to cut you off, how I see it is the gym wasn't needed 200,000 years ago. Our ancestors didn't need a gym because the biological pressure was already there by the life circumstances they were born into. So you didn't have to go to a gym when you're a tribe on the Serengeti in Africa, right? Our ancestors that we came from, like they had to hunt and fish and forage for food and eventually farm and all the things they had to do that kept them physically strong.
Right, make ropes.
And the weakest would die off and the strongest would survive. And so there was all this like system running that just made it happen. And I almost see personal growth in a very similar way. It's just as synthetic as the gym in that a lot of personal growth is fighting against the ease of life. Like the reason we need personal growth is because our world is set up, technology is set up, society and culture is set up to keep letting us off the hook. It keeps letting us escape from the natural biological pressure and imperatives that we would have and gives us a bunch of options to not do those things, whether it's cultural, societal, relational, whatever. Like we don't have any of those things that are putting that pressure on naturally. So it's a decision. When we go into personal growth, what we're saying is, I'm deciding to purposely put tension into my life, almost like resistance training in the gym. I'm going to put resistance into my life to grow an area of myself that won't naturally be grown in the system that's set up. And I think it's not really a noble pursuit. That's a decision somebody makes to put themselves in that path, to put tension on themselves, where maybe 200,000 years ago, again, in a tribe, personal growth probably just naturally happened for its circumstances in the moment. But we live a very synthetic, abstract, disconnected from our original biology life. So we have to be mindful and intentional about drawing those kinds of things in that create that tension that will make us better people.
Yeah, I 100% agree with what you just said. I think that that's pretty brilliant, actually. I would quibble a little. This is a quibble. This is an introverted thinking accuracy quibble.
Let's get down to the details.
Yeah. No, it's just, I would actually say it's a noble pursuit. I just don't think it's morally superior.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
That's a good distinction. Yeah. I mean, yes.
Yeah. I think it's a noble pursuit in the same way that working out is a noble pursuit. I think good things come from it. I just don't think that the person is like a superior human being for choosing it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's because the people who are into those kinds of things chose it for all sorts of things that they had no control over, honestly. Like, my observation has been that the people who quote unquote live in the gym usually have, looking at through the lens of type, have higher access to extroverted sensing or sensation than I do. I'm just not going to live at the gym. It just does not give me the immediate real world rewards. Now, I know some people who are NP types, NTP types like myself, who have just like sort of perfected this entire gym thing, but they don't live at the gym. They figured it out in other ways. They gamed it.
Yeah.
And so I think, quote unquote, living at the gym it's because that's high reward. So is that person superior, ethically, morally superior because they're pre-wired to enjoy that kind of experience? I don't think so. But is it a noble pursuit? For sure. And anybody who puts their foot in a gym and works out and fights against the synthetic reality around us that encourages us to make all sorts of choices that are not healthy to our bodies, that's a noble pursuit. Whether you're just like walking in and going like, okay, that's all I could do for the day, or you are there for 2 hours, I think it's noble. And I think the same thing with personal growth. You just mentioned that we live in a world that kind of lets us off the hook a lot. And I would say, to add to that, a big piece is that it also keeps us from having any sort of quiet time.
Yeah.
Like our ancestors, for basically all of human history, had much quieter environments than we do. Even the ones who lived in the city. Like there were moments when it was just silence and they were alone with their thoughts and they couldn't grab something to entertain themselves with a backlight, and they couldn't grab earbuds. They couldn't grab anything. And candles were expensive, and so they couldn't read to entertain themselves. So if they were awake, they were alone with their thoughts. And we do not have that luxury anymore. I mean, we rob ourselves of the luxury of silence. And a lot of inner work is done in silence. So I think that's a big thing. And so I think you're right. I think people who are into personal growth are pushing against the more synthetic experience we have than our ancestors to, in some ways, get the same gain.
Yeah.